Okay, so how much longer do we have to wait until Daniel Southworth accidentally leaks the new Basara game?
All right, that was good. I like that a lot.
I try with these intros sometimes. All right, what's up, boys? Bob and Brandon back. Welcome back to more Basara 3. So we got to see a man have a complete mental meltdown last time and see everything literally go to shit. This time we get to see canonically someone who goes through that same thing, but not quite in this story. Well, yes and no. Not as bad as it actually goes down in Yukimura Den, but still pretty bad.
Yukimura, it's really kind of sad, actually. Yukimura goes into a spiral of depression in every game, except for 4 and maybe the first one.
Man, our Nero proxy really has it rough at times.
It fits in hindsight.
Yeah, it really does.
So, it's really funny how Ieyasu presents himself as basically a Christ figure, the light of hope, as it were, and he's literally attacking a force while their commander is ill, almost on their deathbed.
For the greater good and all that shit. I don't know. Either way, I am very much looking forward to actually seeing one of these stories from an outsider's perspective that isn't one of the direct two main conflict characters, if you know what I mean.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. I know for a lot of our audience, if anyone else is watching, it must be weird seeing this, considering the fact that we don't have any context for who the Tiger of Kai is, but seeing this, yeah, this definitely does hit pretty hard for him. Basically adopted dad, you can see it as a sort of way.
I mean, it's not that hard to parse that Yukimura is having a hard time dealing with the, as far as he knows, potential, if not outright loss of his father figure.
Yeah.
The man that taught him everything he knows. Which, since this might be in poor taste, but is the closest timing we're gonna get. Rest in peace, Chris Ayres, who in the anime side played Shingen Takeda, the Tiger of Kai.
Holy shit, that's him. Damn.
Yes, I know, right? On the anime side, in this game, both of his scenes is played by Michael McConaughey. And again, I realize this might sound in poor taste right after saying that, but at least as far as what little he has to work with in this game, I kind of a little bit like Michael's scenes a little bit better.
I'm not gonna follow you anything for that. I honestly do kind of get it. I mean,
and
fucking Michael's been on forever,
what?
So he does have that brevity to him.
And it's also the fact that he hasn't given a lot to work with either. He has literally only 2 scenes in the whole game, and he kills those 2 scenes. All else being equal, though, Chris Ayres' Shingen Takeda is fucking outstanding. It's still a 12 out of 10 performance in the anime.
To Yukimura Sanada, his young apprentice who, without the guide of his master, found himself struggling.
Sorry, Taylor's trying to call me a messenger. I have to turn her down.
Despite having the
Sounds the way she's wording it, it would be nice to have some human interaction right now. Oh man, that must be going rough.
That's unfortunate timing.
Also, damn, that's a good sunset in the background for this level. Or level. Oh, world, you know what I mean.
Yeah. You look too closely at the assets, they're a little rough, but you look at the greater picture, this game has a lot of really great effects.
Yeah, seriously. And I guess it's maybe because I was actually playing Devil May Cry 4 a little bit last night and shortly before we started doing this, but I really do appreciate the fucking MT framework engine. God damn, is it good stuff.
Alright, there's a lot they can do with it when they're actually given the time to play with it. But it's also there's a lot of stuff they carry over from Street Fighter as well. They do the calligraphy style from time to time, and they're in the opening narration that I still think looks good, even for minor things like the text box.
If you just think about that thing with Street Fighter, that it really just put into perspective, wow, there really is just like a lot of bleed through from other Capcom IPs into this game. God damn.
Really? Give it here.
I mean, I can't say if they did it during the PS2 generation. I don't think they did, but from the PS3 generation and onward, they created one engine and then put like all of their games on that one engine. And they've done it to great effect. Although I think actually Street Fighter V might be on Unreal 4.
Yeah, Street Fighter 5 is Unreal 4, and I can tell you that because I think the developers between 4 and 5 changed. Yeah, because I don't think it's Dimps anymore. It was someone else, and they also shifted engines for some wild reason. It's whatever. If I'm being honest, I actually never liked the visuals of 4 for a lot of characters. The way a lot of I just bug out of their head, and for a lot of characters it's not, they just look bad. At least in my opinion.
Oh no, Street Fighter in 4 and 5, again, they have some really good effects, but the actual character models are hideously ugly.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, okay, I do like 5's visuals a lot more than 4's. 4's is very iffy and really washed out a lot of places. I'm not a fan of it. 5, like Chun-Li's model, Ryu's model, they're all really good. But then you do get some wacky shit like, you know, Ken's still, as of yet, not fixed banana hair.
Yeah.
Without a solid advantage, I can't take him down.
But then honestly, I'll take MT Framework or even Yui 4 any day over seeing fucking Ryu in Uncanny Valley RE engine.
I'm looking forward to the day that actually happens. That's gonna be hilarious, and unfortunately probably the best photorealistic look we'll ever have had for Ryu, because there was that tie-in game for the Street Fighter movie way back in the day that actually used Mortal Kombat's pre-rendered visuals, like the actual like mocap actors.
Yeah, the digitized actors.
Yeah, that's still so weird to think about, that Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, the ones that were going head to head, yeah, one just basically kind of blend into another. It's kind of hilarious that way. Anyway, so this is a red route where things aren't actually going to hell.
Yeah, so not everything is gonna borrow the same basic framework that Mitsunari's route did, where everything goes right the first route and everything goes to shit in the second. Although that does happen a few times. It's more about seeing the two options before you and seeing where they end up, and they lead to very different places. One, you might end up being still sort of stuck in a rut by the time your battles are over, in the case of Mitsunari Red, or in some cases you might actually have the clarity you were looking for in cases of Mitsunari Blue. So a lot of different things can happen.
I know about, I'm not sure if it's a red route or the blue route, but I do know about the thing that does happen with the Tiger Kai in one of the routes, and I'd be willing to bet that's probably the red route, and I want to see if the inverse happens with the blue route. I don't want to spoil too much just yet.
Yeah. Also, the audience won't notice, but you definitely will, and that's that these are going to be running a hell of a lot shorter now, and that's because I finally learned how to edit, and it's not graceful in the slightest, so that's going to be something that's going to be fun to see play out.
Yeah, whatever happened
also,
I thought you were just going to default to pirating Sony Vegas. I'm surprised you went so far out of your way to get editing software even I've never heard of.
It's because anytime I tried pirating software, it's like you would always end up with some kind of malware.
Oh yeah,
and
easily.
So it's like I wasn't gonna deal with that again. All right, how much is Sony Vegas? The last time I looked at it was like $150 or $80. It's like, fuck it, I'll just buy that with the next paycheck or something. Oh, it's like $400. Fuck that noise.
That's actually a lot lower than I thought it was. I thought it was like $800.
There is an $800 version. The basic version is $400.
Dragging me from my slumber into the light.
But if you were wondering what the hell I was doing there for like 30 seconds trying to jump over a ledge, yeah, that ledge there, it looks small enough that you could jump over it if you had a running start or if you had a character that was fast enough. No, that ledge is programmed no matter what, no matter how high you get, to never be able to reach it because it would bypass a cutscene if you did.
Yeah. That'd be interesting. And anyway, so in comes Oichi. You might know, some might know her as Oda's sister, and yeah, shit's kind of, there's some wild stuff with her we don't actually fully experience in the States unless you watch the anime.
Yeah, it's funny seeing a time where she was very, very, very briefly happy in the second game before her brother killed her husband.
Yeah, way back in the day when she actually used to wield an Naginata of all things, and then shit goes south and her character becomes, well, there's a good analogy to be made. I'm just trying to think of a character that can possibly, like, I guess you can maybe liken her to a sort of stand user, but not quite.
Sort of. It's the idea that you're supposed to get, I think, is that she's been abused or neglected or something her entire life, even before now, of course, and definitely before she was sold off into a political marriage. So it's like her being depressed again isn't real after her dealing with something like the death of her husband isn't exactly something new for her because she's always been miserable her entire life.
Yeah.
So it's like this is more of the same for her. At the time where she finally did have someone that supported her, was like the best time of her entire life. So while she's definitely miserable now, it's even worse for her because like the one light in her life is gone and she has no clear way out.
Yep. And then Weirdo comes in the next game who is trying to impersonate her husband. That's okay, okie dokie. I assume there's precedent for that. I don't remember what it was offhand, but it's just also kind of weird. And now I don't know how to segue into mentioning that she is also top girl for me personally because holy shit, them legs, and also actually decent character that goes through some shit.
She's not wearing pants or a skirt or anything. That one plate in front of her crotch is the only thing that's actually covering her lower body.
Pretty much.
She's literally just wearing a shirt and nothing else.
Practically. Hey, at least we have a character. At least sometimes Capcom knows how to sexualize characters via usual non-traditional means. Because usually it just comes down to giant ass, i.e. Cammy, or giant tits, i.e. some other characters. But sometimes they know how to do some decent stuff.
And then for legs, there's Chun-Li.
You know, you usually don't get many other legs characters besides her, but yeah, weird. I feel uncomfortable we're talking about this when we just went over some dark stuff for her backstory, but it is what it is.
I do want to clarify the husband impersonator thing a little bit, because there is a precedent for not that, but for his obsession, and that's that the character's name / historical figure is named Katsui Shibata. He's another one of Oda's generals. There's a version of him in Samurai Warriors 2, 3, and 4, and in 3, he's actually voiced by David Lodge, so that's pretty funny.
Yeah, nice.
After the death of Azai Nagamasa, Oichi's husband, Oda put her in another political marriage almost immediately, and that would have been to Katsui Shibata. But since Sengoku Basara is funny, they're like, alright, we're gonna put a spin on my boss is ordering me to marry his sister to, oh, I like her. I'm going to kill her husband, who is now alive again, and then pretend to be her husband. You know, the funny thing is, I think that's only a DLC costume. So the impersonation is just something quirky that they came up with after the fact. But yes, in general, though, he is obsessive and weird and creepy. And he sure is a member of the Oda, alright. Which is really funny that he's one of the poster characters for Basara 4.
Yeah, that's always so weird to me.
Takes so much away from me.
He also ends up getting treated like shit by Oda, go figure.
Seems like a common trend, not gonna lie.
There's a scene in one of his endings in 4 where he's getting reprimanded by Oda, and Oda's like, alright, I'll forgive you, but I'm going to insult you in the process. I'm going to turn over this wine bowl that I'm drinking and just drop it directly into your own hair.
Okay.
Oda can't do anything simply.
Clearly not. So I guess we should probably actually start covering some basic things about Yukimura. Obviously, you could probably see this at a glance, but yeah, matchsticks included. He's not. He's definitely
that's his
a lot.
joke weapon.
He's definitely a lot less sophisticated than you would with Mizunari. I mean, Mizunari's already kind of simple as it is, cover character and all. But Yukimura really exemplifies that fact.
Yeah, so Yukimura and Masamune are the cover characters for the entire series. They've been on the box for every game except for Vanilla Basara 2. So they're the characters with the most long-standing history in series. Yukimura is a big hot-headed dumbass, but he's also a good, polite boy who is the most naive and adorable creature on the planet.
Yep, he really is. Especially backed up by the fact that he... Obviously, we don't have to mention this, but yeah, voiced by Johnny Young Bosch really helps that go a long way. And even subs, he's still amazing.
Yeah, Johnny really brings a new dimension to this character, and I think this might be the screamiest he ever got pre-Broly, which is funny because even by 2010, he was already famous mostly for various types of screaming.
Yeah.
So it's really just putting his foremost talents to their best use. And yeah, he's a lot of fun. He brings a lot of dimension to the character, both in terms of being able to shout really good, but also very, very good job of handling those introspective scenes.
Oh yeah.
Where he's questioning the way of the world, whether or not he should give up, or how he can move forward with everything, and how he needs to cope with now being the de facto leader of the Takeda forces.
Yeah, we were talking about this last time with it took a while for Ruben Langdon to actually have a role where he could actually like show that he has really good range, and that would namely be Devil May Cry 5. I'm pretty sure he might have had more stuff other than that beforehand, but like that was like the big fucking role that showed that yeah, Ruben Langdon can in fact act. Johnny has been doing that in Devil May Cry ever since DMC4, but even well before that, he's been able to show in like a lot of different things that he's a man of a good fucking range. I mean, obviously with this, even as far back as Ichigo, I think that was definitely like a good exemplary aspect about that.
Oh, definitely. But even as far back as his first role in anime ever with Trigun's Vash the Stampede, he was displaying 1,000 emotions a minute with that character and nailing it every time, of course.
I should ask if were you actually a kid that watched Power Rangers, or are you like me in that you didn't?
I watched one show ever, never bought or played with any of the toys, but I watched one show on TV, and that was all I ever saw. I never watched or got into any of the other ones. So seeing people talk about it as their entire childhood is something that I do not relate to.
Yeah, I think Power Rangers, like, obviously I'm 28. I think Power Rangers was a little bit before my time because I have a friend that's just turned 30, who, Josh, who, as far as I know, yeah, he definitely had Power Rangers a lot during his childhood. So I think it might have been just before my time, probably, because I don't think I had regular access to cable TV until like 2003. So
well, the one that everyone loves came out in like 93, so that definitely would have been before our time to remember what TV was like.
Yeah, 93 is when I was born.
Yeah. So it's like the first era of mega hit cartoons or TV in America that would have been our generation, would have been the very first, and I guess technically the second, of Dragon Ball, with the Ocean dub actually airing on terrestrial television before Cartoon Network.
True, yeah. I mean, there's always been big hit cartoons, but definitely the big ones for our generation was definitely more like Dragon Ball Z running into the Toonami time slot. As far as like late 90s, I don't know offhand because I didn't watch a lot of TV back when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Not that I know of anyway.
It really says something when the two hallmarks of a channel could not be more different. In Cartoon Network's case, it's like their two biggest shows are Dragon Ball Z and like Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Yeah, I know. We mentioned hallmarks of being kids, and that was definitely more my bag, personally speaking. I only really watched Nick for just SpongeBob when I was a kid, and that's about it.
Yeah, I lost cable in 2003 up until 2009 for a few reasons, and so that entire intervening 6 years, I grew up entirely on terrestrial television, so my childhood after I was 8 or 9 years old was very different from everyone else I ever knew. So everyone's favorite cartoons from Nick, Cartoon Network, and Disney in the mid-2000s completely passed me by.
Yeah, I feel that. It's when I moved to Arizona in like 2006. That's when I really dropped off the face of the earth for watching like newer TV shows outside of just catching the end of Avatar: Last Airbender, and that's it.
That was one of the ones that passed me by. I didn't watch Avatar for the first time until 2012 on Netflix.
Yeah, I feel that. I didn't watch the finale. So I moved to Arizona before book 2 was concluded, and like I only realized, oh yeah, I never finished Avatar. I only realized that after they were announcing the conclusion of book 3 was going to be airing. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about that show.
I want to talk about Yukimura for a minute because his hair is really weird when you look at it. Most of the time you're just thinking about how it's spiky in the front, but no. In the back, he has a ponytail thing that goes really long, and in the back is almost kind of dread-like.
Actually, I was looking for a way to transition back into the game in general. What was up? That scene with Oichi just sitting there with the sunrise coming out, that was really cool. But I assume there's probably more to it than meets the eye.
That's just the boss scene at the end of every stage.
Okay, cool. It wasn't like anything else to it. All right.
Yeah, but so Yukimura's hair in the back is pretty gross because it looks like dreads, which means it's unwashed to get to that point.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, yeah, it's like 1600, so that makes sense why they wouldn't be washing themselves that often. Even so, it's just still kind of weird when you look at it compared to the front of his perfectly styled hair.
That is one of the shortcomings of the MT framework engine, is that it doesn't do a great job of rendering hair, especially for a lot of characters, where it still looks like it's like very late PS2 era with like how hairs in a lot of places just triangles.
There's that, and there's also the fact that, as we saw last time during one instance, this game is very much running basically emulated PS1 models at times.
Yeah, essentially. You see a lot, you get the PS1 look a lot more, which is a lot of NPCs that are deliberately on point, like literally just grunt foot soldiers. You get early PS2 like Final Fantasy X with a lot of like regular generals that aren't named characters or like don't have like actual character portraits. Like that one actually.
Yeah.
Like you can see underneath it is how flat the face is underneath the mask.
Yeah, you just reminded me of playing 10 on the PS4, and that was not an enlightening experience. That was not a very enlightening experience getting a close-up look at the members of your blitzball team.
I played 10 the one time and never again, and for a good reason. Also because fuck the more boss fights.
Well, it's there if you ever want to try it again.
It is.
So right now, Masamune is on his quest to mutilate Mitsunari, and since we are literally, I think, right in the center of Japan or close to it, that means he has to pass through our territory, and in this case, passing directly through our aquatic fortress.